Hi, this is Jo and welcome to my Inspired Action Minisode series. These episodes are meant to help you think about your business in a new way and to take inspired action. Join me as I walk around my London neighbourhood and I discuss the most asked questions I get as a business coach. Let's dive in. One side effect of being an ambitious and driven woman is that you often feel exhausted and overworked. And ironically, the exhaustion and a feeling of doing too much usually comes from the pressure that we put on ourselves and that to-do list that we create for ourselves. Now, I am the queen of productivity. So when it comes to managing to-do lists and making sure that you're scheduling time to get everything done and actually getting things done, I've recorded a whole podcast episode on how to get things done. This is my forte. But today's podcast is a little bit of a different slant on this one today because it's a deeper inquiry into how come busy work can actually become a way of life that doesn't serve us. And for people like myself, and perhaps like you, who are strong, decisive, ambitious, high-achieving and motivated women, we can so often find ourselves in this pattern of overdoing, overproving and overproducing in order to overcome self-worth issues, where they show up like imposter syndrome and perfectionism and very frequently fear of judgment. Are those ringing a bell for you? Well, they are certainly the triumvirate of challenges that I've been dealing with as a businesswoman and as a coach. And I think that as we move, particularly out of corporate, where we think we're really busy because so many things are put upon us, and we move into being our own boss, we actually find ourselves replicating the same issues, and they come up time and time again. But this time, we're putting them on ourselves rather than some external influence. Now, if you listen to my podcast with any regularity, you might be hearing that my voice is just a little bit nasally today. And this is because I've picked up a common cold. And I do believe that signs like getting a slight cold or feeling under the weather are sometimes a sign or an opportunity for us to just slow down a little. It's our body's way of saying, you're pushing me a little hard. There's some reflection stuff you need to deal with. You just need to take it easy and you need to back off from the busy work. And this is so counterintuitive to me. And I think looking back on it, even when I've been sick through the years, which doesn't happen very frequently, thank God, I'm a very robust individual. But you can tell, even by the way I've said that I pride myself on this. So when I do get ill, I just say, well, I can push through that. That's not going to stop me. But does that attitude serve us when we feel like pushing through all the time? Funnily enough, it leads right into our archetype, this pushing, striving female who has something to prove to herself. Because let's be honest, we don't need to prove it to anyone else, do we? We're judged enough by ourselves, that inner critic that's constantly leaping about and going, yes, but have you achieved the goal that you said you would by the time that you said you would? Have you achieved more than them? Have you achieved more than your sister or more than your mother said you would? And so on, the voices in our heads, whether or not they exist externally or not, are enough to drive us forward in this extreme busy work. Now, I've just been on a beautiful walk on a beautiful sunshiny autumn London day, and there are crinkly golden leaves everywhere, and I've forced myself out the door. I have a long to-do list. I don't suppose that surprises you. I imagine your to-do list is pretty extensive too. But instead of forcing my way through it, I am taking the time and I'm prioritising myself to get out and walk in nature. Taking a walk in nature for me, it's a way that I can get back to my inner being and I can start to allow some intuition to come through. I've always had an incredibly loud mind, which means that I felt in the past that my intuition has such a soft and quiet voice that sometimes I can't hear it at all. And so doing practices like meditation and particularly nature walks for me, I find that it gives me an opportunity to just step away from the busy mind just for a little while and instead allow some semblance of sweetness and calm and perspective to flow through me. And something I've been reflecting on is where the busyness comes from, the need to be busy. Now, first of all, let's separate out the long to-do list and how it should get done from the feelings that it creates. Now, first up, the to-do list. Now, from a productive point of view, of course, let's analyse it. Let's consider, where could a VA help more? Is this truly all stuff that has to get done and done by me? What exactly are the needle-moving tasks for my business? All of that is important work to think to yourself. Do I really need to do all of this? And am I overworking stuff? Goodness, how many times have we dived into Canva and ended up in some sort of wormhole where an hour later we produced a very nice graphic, but it could have been done in 10 minutes. Instead, we dived into some form of perfectionism. Look, all of that exists. But even deeper than that, there is a sense that if we are not busy, are we valuable? Are we contributing? Are we worthy? Will we be successful? And with this attitude, well, no wonder we're going to be busy, because you're going to essentially find things to fill up your time in order to keep yourself feeling worthy. This has been a massive revelation for me. I was on a call with a mentor recently and we were talking about this stuff. And I realised that growing up, I saw both my parents working 2 or 3 jobs. They were constantly busy. And I don't remember them having hobbies or any downtime, unless it was falling asleep in front of the TV at 10 o'clock at night. Literally, they just worked. They had things they did in the evening and so on. And I realised that although I would not see myself as that extreme, I have certainly embodied this idea that to be lazy is sinful. Like laziness is not something I can tolerate. Or at least when I say laziness, I mean my own perception of laziness. I don't like the thought that I'm being lazy, so I fill my time. And I'm not always separating out laziness and self-care, or laziness and simple relaxing and allowing the intuition to flow in. And that's something that I've worked on deeply recently and continue to work on. And I'd noticed how I built some of that in and then it dropped away again. So for example, making sure that I prioritise my yoga, making sure that I take my long walks, but then I got busy again. Now I could excuse that, of course, because I had a launch, and I could excuse that because there were various other things that felt important. But ultimately I wasn't creating the space in my life to allow the things that I really wanted to drop in. There wasn't that expansiveness, that spaciousness. And I'm starting to lean into that. And then things are starting to move and shift in the direction that I'm going. And perhaps being a bit snuffly and feeling full of cold this week and not feeling fully energized to dive into the busy work is actually a gift. It's a gift to allow me to slow down, to perceive myself as not lazy just because I have a long bath in the middle of the day, or indeed want to watch a Netflix show in the early evening or whatever it might be. It's just an opportunity for downtime, just to honour the fact that I'm here on planet Earth, living the best life I can in order to show up for myself, my family and friends, and the people that I'm meant to serve. As I become more expansive, so can the gifts that I have to offer my clients expand. And when we talk about building businesses, what greater and more inspiring growth can ever be but expanding ourselves over and above the mission to complete the to-do list? Now I know that if you're listening to this and you're like me, you're thinking, sounds great, Jo, but the to-do list does need to get done. And I hear you. When I'm walking in the woods and I'm thinking to myself, that to-do list isn't doing itself, you know what I'm going to do? And I urge you to do the same, which is when you look at your to-do list, and when I get back to my desk after my walk and I look at my to-do list, I'm going to be ruthless and ask what tasks don't have to be done at all. Would it really matter? Let's magnetize solutions. Let's put it out into the vortex to the universe that some of this stuff can solve itself. Some of my marketing can simply be attraction marketing. Like if you get out there and you talk your truth, as I'm doing right now, then the people that need your message and need your help will come forward. They're going to come into your vortex when you can ease into that spaciousness and expansiveness and allow the real you to shine through. And that's my message about my business, which is that your truth and your message, when it shines through authentically, actually calls in your clients naturally. And that's the piece of work that as driven women, we have to do, because goodness knows we can leap into action. And when we get into action, anything can happen. The trouble is, we'll often run into action in the wrong direction. And we can do that for such a length of time that we end up with a business that doesn't feel aligned. What do I mean by that? Well, it doesn't feel good. We don't feel lit up. And then it's a struggle to show up for our clients. We can also take our clients' successes and failures to heart too much and want to do the work for them just because we're capable. When we work with clients who can't seem to take action, we want to do it for them. But of course, this isn't in alignment with either our purpose or theirs. So we have an opportunity, whenever we want it, just to take pause and to realign our businesses with our purpose, our businesses with our true message and our story. When we bring all of those parts of ourselves into our business, then we feel aligned and lit up, and we feel fully in place. And funnily enough, clients are also magnetised to our message. Now, this month of December is my birthday month, and I'm so excited because it's coming straight after the 1-year anniversary of starting my business. It has been an awesome, amazing year, and I literally can't believe the number of twists and turns and evolving that has happened for me personally in this year. I've seen results that a year ago I would not have thought possible, as I've battled my own imposter syndrome and thought to myself, can I really show up and do this? But just like I told you about the message and authenticity, as I brought all the pieces and parts of myself and the challenges I've had and my skills, the jobs I've had and every part of myself, I've been able to craft something that is uniquely me and it's authentic. And the more I do that, the more it resonates with my soul clients. And if you're listening to this, you're going to be picking up pieces of my message that just call to you. That's part of your experience. And you can do this for your clients too. Dive into your authenticity. And this month I've launched my 2-hour intensive Time to Rise session, where we can dive deeply into your authentic message and stories to help you nail your resonance with soul clients too. If that calls to you, you need to jump into the show notes and book a call with me. Let's chat about how we can work together and how I can help take you to the next level of your business. Whether you've been in business for 10 minutes or 10 years, if you feel out of alignment and you know that your next level is about unlocking your authenticity and your message and how it needs to be expressed in your business, then we need to talk. And I also want to share with you something exciting that's bubbling up for me, which is a relaunch of my podcast in the new year. I've got a new name, which I'm excited to share with you soon, and some new artwork. And I'm going to be inviting special guests on to do interviews too. It's going to be an expanded version of what I hope you've been enjoying to date. If you haven't listened to the back episodes yet, this is an opportunity to dive in and really get all of the good, juicy stuff that the Action Taker Tribe podcast has done in the last year. I'm now at nearly 70 episodes, and every one has come from my heart. Well, perhaps the first couple I was a little bit shaky, but go back and listen and judge for yourself. I adore sharing my message on my podcast, and I would love it so much if you would help me out by reviewing it on Apple Podcasts. And please do spread the word. Let's get the message out there that we can build our business in ease and flow, be action takers who also lean into inspiration. This is our time. Let's rise together. Have an inspired action week. Take care. Bye now.